crystal head, blondish hair, but in a certain light, if you looked right, it was red like Grandma's. She had her daddy's eyes and her mama's smile. She was everybody in one. She was my daughter. She was my son-in-law. She was everybody in one. She was love.
Back when HIV first came out, I always thought, you know, it would never happen to me. Not me, it always happened to that neighborhood over there. I would make jokes, ridicule. I was that type of person because it could never happen to me.
Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. You know, the best way to understand what our show is about today would be to hear it straight from our guests. So please welcome Kelly and her husband Clarence to the show.
I found out I had it when my little girl got very sick at 6 months, and I had to rush her to the hospital. And they were doing all these tests on her and trying to find out what was going on with her and ruling out this and ruling out that. And finally they came to me and they said, you know, we did an HIV test, we want to do all these surgery tests, we want lung samples, and your little girl's critical at this point. We have no choice, we must do this. And I said, then you do whatever it is you have to do. I just want my little girl to come home with me.
Shortly after we moved to this other state, my husband and I separated. And during the course of our separation, I got involved with another individual and had unprotected sex.
And after they did biopsies and surgeries and blood work and spinal taps and MRIs and everything known to man, they came back to me and they said, I'm sorry, but your little girl has AIDS and she's not going to live. And that I was HIV positive and my husband was HIV negative. And that's how I found out, was sitting at my daughter's bedside, who I thought I was going to bury the next day.
She was about 3 months old, and she had a cold that wouldn't go away, had a rash.
I knew exactly where I got it, because I'd only been with my husband and that one man. I never did drugs, so I knew. And I dropped to my knees, and I begged for forgiveness, and I apologized to my daughter. That's all I could do.
Because the medicines weren't working.
And they kept telling you, well, it's just things that happen with babies. Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be okay.
Right.
She made it past her 1-year birthday, which was August. And we come into November, and we just got back from the doctor, and they said, oh, everything's fine. She looks great. Gave her what they called at that time IVIG, an artificial immune boost, and sent us home. And 3 days later, I was getting her dressed for her girlfriend's first birthday party, and I was holding her in my arms.
I was holding her as if you would hold a small baby to feed. Now, mind you, at 14 months, she was still being bottle fed.
She only had 1 ounce of formula left in her bottle.
And normally I wouldn't have pushed it, but it was her AZT.
And I said, we gotta go bye-bye, and she waved at the door, go bye-bye.
And I said, yeah, we're going bye-bye. And as I picked up the bottle and it touched her lips, she looked me straight in the eyes. She caught up in the ball. She tied in my arms.
And that was the last time I ever heard Mommy. So I buried my daughter when she was 14 months old.
This is a disease that isn't pretty, isn't fashionable. The only real way of getting it is through ignorance. That's the only way you can really get it, educate yourself. And those that are educated and do it, then I feel sorry for them, and I feel sorry for their family.
I would tell kids, you are not invincible. You're a human being, and anything can happen to you, and if you let it, it will. The only way not to contact HIV and AIDS is through abstinence. 1 time is all it takes. People don't realize that. They think, oh, I've known he's my boyfriend or my girlfriend, I've known him for years, I know. No, you don't. No, you don't. And is that 1 time worth your life and ripping apart your mom and your dad and your family? Because that's what happens. It rips them apart.
There is nobody out there worth this. Nobody is that wonderful that it would take your life, or possibly the life of your child.
Everything in life's a learning lesson, and everything happens for a reason. When you take risk, there's always a repercussion. And I've had huge repercussions that I've had to deal with. I live life one day at a time, because no one is promised tomorrow.